we carry the story forward into modern times and the stresses that come with a growing society which has wealth and which has reach and power that the initial Saudi society never had. But that initial deal, if you will, between the religious establishment and the ruling family, that continues, though it develops tensions of its own.
With stress, because the most religious of the Wahhabis, for example, were against television coming into the kingdom. They were against the radio. They're still today against women driving. They are extremely conservative. And the Al Saud family has sometimes had to enforce or introduce modernization that the Wahhabi establishment was opposed to. So there's been times of tension, but the Wahhabi religious establishment has never turned against the Al Saud family up to today. There have been extremists, even more conservative Wahhabis, that have caused trouble for both of them. But the central alliance between those two, which is the core of the foundation of the Saudi kingdom today, still holds.
How would you describe Saudi Arabia as it is today in terms of the practice of this very conservative religious approach and the way the society operates on a normal day-to-day basis?
Well, socially, the Wahhabi establishment still dictates pretty much how people behave. You have to remember they have a religious police that goes into the streets and they enforce prayer 5 times a day. They will question couples that are together or whether or not they're married, because women and men, particularly young men and women, are supposed to remain segregated in public places. They will go into restaurants and make them close down prayer time. It's a very rigorous religious straitjacket in which the country still lives today. And women still don't drive. They have trouble even traveling without the permission of their husband or their father or a male person of the family. It's a very, the fundamentals of Islam as the Wahhabis understand it and practice it many decades and centuries ago, it's still there in today's society.
One of the points you make in the book deals, of course, with this conservative Wahhabism as sort of the ruling culture within Saudi Arabia. But in the 1950s, with an outflow from Egypt because of the Nasser regime's crackdown on religious activism in that country, you have an inflow into Saudi Arabia of many Egyptians coming from the Muslim Brotherhood. And this is not exactly the same as the Wahhabi. It added, in your account, an element of sort of religious activism and religious dynamism that the Wahhabi didn't necessarily encourage. These two strands combine with a real important impact on the future of Saudi Arabia.
It creates a new type of Wahhabi that I call the neo-Wahhabis, and it marries the strict fundamentalism of the Wahhabis to the political activism of the Muslim Brotherhood, and it creates a rather fiery combination, because they are both interested in changing the nature of Arab society today. They're activists. They want to get involved, and their views are very fundamentalist, as the Wahhabi views have always been. So you have you have an activism that begins to cause trouble, not only for the Saudi government and other pro-Western governments in the Middle East, but also for the United States, because they don't believe that Saudi Arabia should be in alliance with infidel countries and governments, infidel as they see them. And Christians and Jews are considered infidels, and the Wahhabis are particularly intolerant and unfriendly towards both.